This is my chinchilla Pikachu. She may look cute, but she's a lot to handle. For the next few minutes, I am going to explain what it takes to own a chinchilla and how to properly care for them. First, a little bit about their history. Chinchillas come from the Andes Mountains in South America. All of the domesticated chinchillas in the United States come from the original 11 that M.F. Chapman brought back from the Andes Mountains in 1923. For years, chinchillas have been hunted for their fur to make coats and other items. This has made them nearly extinct in the wild. It is important that chinchilla owners recognize and understand that these animals should be cared for properly. Like any animal, chinchillas need food and water. A high-quality pellet, such as the Missouri brand, is best. Also, adding some Timothy hay to their diet is necessary. Make sure to provide food and fresh water to your chinchilla every day. This is the type of pellet that I feed Pikachu. And this is her Timothy hay. And this is her water bottle. This is some footage of Pikachu eating her Timothy hay. Since they come from a mountainous region, chinchillas like to jump and climb. As a result, they need a large cage in order to do so. The best cages are metal with no plastic for the chinchilla to chew on. Pikachu's cage only has a plastic food dish. Everything else is metal and wood. The cage should also have multiple levels so that the chinchilla can jump up and down throughout the cage. As you can see, Pikachu's cage has 3 levels. The cage should be cleaned once or twice a week. Chinchillas hate a dirty cage. Sometimes they get really agitated or anxious when their homes are a mess. Only use a paper-based bedding like this. No cedar. The oils from cedar bedding are toxic to chinchillas. This is Pikachu spinning in her wheel in her cage. But the cage isn't enough. Chinchillas also should have time to run around in a safe area outside of the cage. I usually have Pikachu run around the bathroom once a week. It's the only place where we're sure she won't chew anything important. Dust bath! This is Pikachu rolling around in her dust bath. Since chinchillas can't get wet, they take a bath in special dust. The dust is not just sand, it is actually volcanic ash that you must buy at the pet store. Chinchillas need dust baths about once or twice a week, depending upon how oily their coat gets or how humid the air is around them. I included a lot of footage of Pika in her dust bath because it's one of the cutest things a chinchilla does, in my opinion. But moving on, this brings us to chewing. Aside from food and shelter, this is the most important thing for your chinchilla. Chinchillas need to chew. Their teeth can grow an inch per month, so it is imperative that they have the ability to wear their teeth down. Apple sticks, willow twigs, and pumice stones are my chinchilla's favorite things to chew. Oh yeah, and also her cage ledges. This is some footage of a willow hut I bought Pikachu, which she destroyed in about a week. These are some examples of the chew toys you can get at the pet store. And this is an example of the damage a chinchilla can do if it doesn't have anything to chew on. It will chew anything else that it can find. Now on to treats. Okay, this is a hot button issue for many chinchilla owners. Some say that a treat or two each day is fine. Others believe that treats should only be given once a week or as sparingly as possible. This is due to the high sugar content in their favorite treats, like raisins. Chinchillas love raisins. I usually stick to about 2 to 3 per week at most, and then I also supplement with Cheerios and rose hips. Pikachu loves all of her treats. Right here she's eating a rose hip. Store-bought treats are usually not appropriate for chinchillas, even if the label says that they can have the treats. It's really important to double check with a vet. Speaking of vets, only certain vets will see a chinchilla, so it's really important to do your homework before getting a chinchilla to make sure that there is a vet near you that will see them. Before getting a chinchilla, it's really important if you have other pets already to make sure that those pets will get along with the chinchilla and won't intimidate or scare the chinchilla, because that could be very harmful. Also, chinchillas don't initially like to be touched or held, so you kind of have to build up to that. It took me a very long time to get my chinchilla comfortable with me picking her up and holding her, and even now she's very skittish and jittery when I try to do that. But they really like if you get them used to petting, and also this little scratching them under the chin that I'm doing right now in the footage. She loves that because chinchillas really can't scratch under their chin, so I think that that's really a nice thing for them. Also, before you get your chinchilla, you should be prepared for the expense of owning a chinchilla. Between the bedding and the food and the dust bath and the cage, it can get quite expensive. So yes, the chinchilla is very cute and adorable, but you have to think long and hard as to whether you could afford that kind of expense for the 10 to 20 years that they might be alive. Also, a chinchilla itself goes for around $150, so you have to be prepared to spend that much just for the chinchilla alone. It's quite a bit more than a hamster. I would recommend adopting a chinchilla if at all possible, so that you can save the life of a chinchilla that's already out there. Also, keep in mind that chinchillas are nocturnal, and they usually sleep during the day and are up during the night. As you can see, this is a video I took of my chinchilla during the day. She's pretty sound asleep, and if you live in a small place, you might hear them when they're awake at night, so that could also be an issue. With the proper care, chinchillas have a relatively long life expectancy. They can live 10 to 20 years. Because of this, it is imperative that you consider whether owning a chinchilla is right for you. Many chinchillas end up abandoned after only a few months because the owners were unprepared for the responsibility of owning this type of animal. Pikachu is a perfect example of this. She was originally owned by a friend of my sister who attends SUNY Geneseo. Poor Pikachu lived in a cage in a dorm room's closet for a few months before her owner realized that she could not properly care for Pikachu. This is when my sister and I decided to adopt her. Previously, we had only owned dogs and a rabbit, a hamster, and a few goldfish over the years. But we had been petless for over a year at that time and decided to try something new by getting a chinchilla. While it has been a very long and interesting year, I am so glad that I decided to adopt a chinchilla. Cleaning the cage is not fun, and sometimes Pikachu is not the most loving animal because she nibbles fingers occasionally, but she is truly a unique and wonderful animal to own. Pikachu was a great addition to the family. Although she's not like a dog, she's still a pretty loving animal.